You think you can spot a liar because they look away or cross their arms? That is a myth. In fact, proficient liars will often stare you straight in the eyes just to prove they are honest. If you rely on those old-school tricks, you are going to get played. To read someone like an FBI profiler, you need to look for limbic leaks. These are split-second survival signals that the conscious brain cannot control. Today, I'm breaking down 6 advanced psychological hacks to read anyone instantly. But before we start, remember the golden rule. Context is king. You need to establish a baseline. If someone is always nervous, that's just them. But if they are calm and suddenly freeze when you ask one specific question, that is your smoking gun. The sign. Let's start with the mouth. Watch closely. When a person is stressed or trying to hold back a negative emotion, their lips will instinctively press together, sometimes disappearing completely into a thin line. The science. Why does this happen? It's a primitive reflex called the negative sentiment display. Your brain is literally signaling the body to shut up or prevent something bad from entering. It is the physical manifestation of withholding information. Real-world scenario. Imagine you are in a salary negotiation. You name your price. If your boss's lips instantly compress and roll inward, stop talking. They don't like the number. Even if they say, "That's interesting," their body is screaming no. The pro tip. If you see this, don't press harder. Back off and ask an open-ended question like, "What are your thoughts on that?" Let them release the pressure. The sign. This is one of the most reliable indicators of fear. The suprasternal notch. The suprasternal notch is that vulnerable hollow spot at the base of your throat, right where the collarbones meet. The science. In evolutionary terms, this is a kill zone. The jugular vein is right there. When we feel threatened, insecure, or anxious, our brain sends a signal to protect this area. Men will often adjust their tie or button their collar tight. Women might touch a necklace or place their hand directly over the notch. Real-world scenario. You are on a date. It's going well, but then you ask, "Why did your last relationship end?" If their hand immediately shoots up to touch their neck or play with a pendant, you just hit a nerve. They are feeling unsafe or defensive about that topic. The pro tip. This is a pacifying behavior. They are trying to soothe themselves. It's a sign of high discomfort, not necessarily lying, but definitely hiding something painful. The sign. Now let's talk about the most disturbing sign, duping delight. Most people expect a liar to look guilty, but a skilled manipulator, they get a chemical high from fooling you. The science. When a liar successfully plants a deception, their brain releases dopamine. This results in a micro-expression of joy, a tiny asymmetrical smirk that flashes for less than a second. It often happens at inappropriate times, like when discussing something tragic or serious. Real-world scenario. Think of a criminal interrogation or a cheating partner denying an affair. If they say, "I have no idea what you're talking about," and for a split second, the corner of their mouth twitches up, that is duping delight. They think they are smarter than you. The pro tip. This is a sign of arrogance. If you see it, play dumb. Let them keep talking. Their overconfidence will eventually make them slip up. The sign. We've all heard, "Look me in the eye." But the real tell is when someone tries to block you out. This is called eye blocking. The science. The brain is powerful, but it's also simple. If it sees something it doesn't like, it tries to erase it. This manifests as rubbing the eyes, covering the face, or closing the eyes for a fraction of a second longer than a normal blink. Real-world scenario. You present a piece of evidence or mention a specific date to a suspect. If they immediately rub their eyelid with a finger, their brain is trying to unsee the reality you just presented. It is a powerful subconscious rejection. The pro tip. Watch for this when you deliver bad news or confront someone. The eye block confirms that the information you just gave them was devastating or highly impactful. The sign. Let's switch gears. How do you spot genuine confidence? Look for gravity-defying behaviors. The science. The logic is simple. Happiness and confidence go up. Sadness and deception go down. When we are excited, our eyebrows arch, our chin lifts, and we use hand gestures that move upward against gravity. Real-world scenario. Watch a sports winner versus a loser. The winner's arms go up. The loser's shoulders slump down. Now apply this to a business pitch. If someone says we are very confident in these numbers, but their chin is tucked in and their shoulders are slumped, they are lying. Their body is submitting to the weight of the lie. The pro tip. True enthusiasm is hard to fake physically. If the words are positive but the body is heavy and downward, trust the body. The sign. Finally, the most dangerous myth of all. Liars fidget. Actually, under high stakes, the opposite is true. They freeze. The science. This comes from the primal limbic system. When faced with a predator, our first instinct isn't to run, it's to freeze so we aren't seen. This is the turtle effect. When a liar is thinking hard to construct a story, their brain shuts down all non-essential movement to focus on the lie. Real-world scenario. You ask your teenager, "Where were you last night?" If they stop moving completely, stop gesturing, and sit rigid like a statue, that is not calmness. That is panic masked as control. They are literally holding their body still to keep from leaking the truth. The pro tip. Look for the sudden change. If they were moving naturally, and then suddenly turn into a robot when the topic changes, that is your red flag. Now you have the keys to the human code. But remember, a single sign is just a hint. You need a cluster of signs to be sure. I want you to try this out this week. Watch your boss, your partner, or even politicians on TV. Which of these 6 signs do you see the most? Let me know in the comments below. I'll pin the most interesting observation. Body language is powerful, but it's only the defensive side of psychology. If you want to go on the offensive and learn how to influence people's decisions without them knowing, click this video right here on subliminal persuasion. You don't want to miss that. I'm the Psych Hacker. Class dismissed.